Now for my favorite part, well, one of my favorite parts of F# is type providers. And oh my goodness, F#.data.SQL client. But before we get to doing that, we need to set up the configuration file. This is kind of typically the way I set it up. I do the dev, and then I do the demo, or what's the other name for it? Stage. Yeah, that works. Production. And so here we have the union type for the environment that we're in. And most of the time I actually grab that from a JSON file. So I'll put that JSON file a level above where the project is exported to for like in the solution, I'll put it in the folder above the projects, and then that way it's a lot cleaner than the funky way that webconfig works. Webconfig is just a mess and it's hard to work with, and this way it's really easy. So I could just match over. I have that JSON file, and then grab it. It tells me what environment I'm in, and then I could use that information to figure out all the other information. Let's see. It's bedtime right now, and the kids coming to bed, so we'll see if I get to keep talking. Okay, and I'm back. Hopefully I'm not too out of sync here. But anyway, so I really like how it's just really easier to work with JSON that way. So yeah, I don't. And then you can put all your configuration in there and things that you need to grab. But anyway, so here F# has the type provider for JSON, so you could just grab that file. It's kind of like how Node.js does it. It makes it really simple, except it's strongly typed. So you just throw your JSON into a little string, and bam, it knows, it figures out the types for you. I found that it's easier to use for reading JSON rather than creating JSON. So if you're creating JSON, you still need to create your types manually. But if you're just going to read something and then and convert it to something else, this library is really great. So we create our type for the JSON. And like I said, normally I am grabbing this information from an actual file, but since this is just an example, I'm going to keep it all inside the file. Now here's one of the frustrating things about .NET that I've always gotten frustrated about, is a lot of times they'll say, hey, this is how you do it, but then they don't show you what files you need to import. And so you're just scratching your head. You're like, oh, do I need to reference something? Do I need to go to Nuget and get something? What do I need to do? So I'm like, here, JSON provider, which library did I grab? Because it's like, I got F#.data in here, but it's not actually F#.data. So what is it? And eventually I figured out it's F#.data. Even though F#.data is available, it extends F#.data. And so, yeah, it'd be nice to have that on on the docs straight up like the f#.data.sql client. I should probably put in a request for that, but I probably won't do it. So, or maybe eventually I'll get around to it. So here we go. So we got our environment, and we're going to call it dev, because I don't really have a stage or production for this. I just use the local SQL environment. And a lot of times, like here, you see with the bottom function test DB connection string with the variable or parameter env environment. Most of the time, I just pass it right in. I grab the I grab that JSON file synchronously and just pass it right in. So I got a whole bunch of connections that I bring in and that have different environments. But I've found it's easiest just to do that. Another way you could do it is you pass in the environment variable every time you need it. I could see cases where you might need it both ways. So whatever works for you. And so, yeah, one of the things you need to do is you need to parse that out. And a lot of times I wouldn't do that last underscore, or if I did, I'd have it throw an error because it should only be dev, stage, or prod always. And so if it isn't that, then just blow it up. But maybe you're like, well, just in case I don't want anything to really screw up, maybe just say prod. But this also makes it really nice if you need to, if you have something breaking in production, but it works just fine on your dev machine and staging, it works just fine also. You just change your local machine to production and you can test it out and step through it really easily. It can be dangerous because, what if you forget to put it back to the previous one and then you do, drop database or something or drop table. That would really suck. So use it with care. So here I'm trying to remember, we're in scripting mode here, and just trying to remember how to set that all up. The scripting is pretty nice. Some people, they'll actually do all their development in scripting environment, and then once they got it all working, they'll actually port it over to irregular files. I haven't done it that way, but it seems like it'd be a nice way to do it. And then you're also making sure that you're not having too many dependencies on everything else. So maybe your low-level files would work for that. But you could also bring in your other files into your scripting environment, which is another nice thing. So and of course, .NET has that way of saying, okay, if you're in dev mode, then do this. If you're in production, then do that. So then you could have it set up all these references for you in each of your regular files. So when you do reference it, it knows, hey, this is scripting, so you need to do it this way.